Who does not like flowers? Flowers are the beauty of nature, right? Both the root system and the shoot system are very, very important parts of a plant body. So what are they? They are nothing but modifications of root system. Modified for what? Modified for food storage. Growth can happen only with the help of meristematic cells, and that is found in the root tip and the shoot tip. What do you mean by differentiated? As I said, cells group into tissues, tissues into organs, organs into organ system. Hello everyone, welcome back to session 1 of chapter 5 called Morphology of Flowering Plants. Hope you all remember, in the last session, I completed a very important and interesting chapter called Animal Kingdom. Moving on to one more very interesting chapter in biology, that is Morphology of Flowering Plants. Who does not like flowers? Flowers are the beauty of nature, right? So in this particular chapter, and this chapter is a very vast chapter having a lot of things to learn and more concepts to understand in this very interesting chapter called Morphology of Flowering Plants. Hope you can see how beautiful these flowers are. Colored flowers, right? So what do we call this? Particularly those plants which bear flowers are called as flowering plants. They are called as what? Flowering plants. And usually we come across the flowering plants are called as angiosperms. Angiosperms. Non-flowering plants are called gymnosperms, whereas flowering plants are called angiosperms, right? Now, what is this word called morphology? Before we go deep into the chapter, let us understand the word called morphology. What do you mean by morphology? Certain terms you have to understand. Morphology means what? Study of external features. Study of external features is called morphology. So this is a chapter dealing with morphology of flowering plants. So we are going to study about the outward, the external morphological structure of a flowering plant, and as I said, maximum number of plants that we come across on this planet Earth are angiosperms. So maximum number of plants what we come across on this planet Earth are angiosperms, and angiosperms are called as what? Flowering plants, right? So as I said, there are diverse forms of flowering plants, and that is angiosperms on the earth. And they, as we know, these angiosperms almost occur in almost all habitats, on the earth and show a great diversity of shape, size and form. Have you ever come across any two plants similar in structure? So also animals, you don't come across any two animals similar. So also the plants are not similar. And I think you might have come across the flowering plants are of diversified structure, shape, size, color, etc. etc. So angiosperms on earth occur in various habitats of the earth and show a great diversity of shape, size and form. Here only you can say no two flower is similar. You come across different varieties of flowers, different colors, different nature, different shape. That is what is the beauty of this angiosperm. So what is morphology of flowering plants? Morphology of flowering plants deals with the study of external features of the plant body. When we come across a plant body, what are the parts of a plant body? Hope all of you might have come across a root, all of you might have come across a shoot, and as you all know, root is a part which grows below the soil and shoot is a part which grows above the soil. When compared to shoot system, root system is very simpler when compared to shoot system. As you find, shoot system is more complex. Why do we use the word called more complex? It has different parts, like it may be the branches, the flowers, the fruits, stem, the nodes, internodes, etc. etc. So all those are the different parts of the shoot system. So morphology of flowering plants deals with the study of the external parts of a plant body, particularly a flowering plant body called angiosperm. As I said, there are diverse forms of flowering plants on earth and they occur in various habitats. It may be in water, may it be on land, right, and on earth, and show a great diversity of what? Shape, size and form. Moving on to the very important concept of this very important chapter called Morphology of Flowering Plants. Hope you can see in this beautiful picture. Right, here you can see this part. The part which is growing below the soil is called as what? Root system. And the part which grows above the soil is called shoot system. Here you can see the part which is below the soil called root system is very simple in structure when compared to the part which is above the soil called shoot system. Here you can see what are the parts of the shoot system. Here you can see nodes, internodes. Node is a region where the leaf arises and the distance between two nodes is called as internode. You can see the bud, you can see the leaf, you can see the stem, fruit, flowers, etc. So, when compared to the root system, in root system you can see only the primary root, secondary root and the tertiary roots. But here the part which is above the soil we call it as the shoot system and the part which is below the soil we call it as what? Root system. Right. Now let us see. Certain terms, as I said, you should understand certain terms. For example, like morphology, anatomy and physiology. First we have to understand these three terms clearly to understand this chapter. What is morphology? As I said, the study of external features of an organism is called morphology. Here we are talking about what? Plant morphology. Like that we have even animal morphology. Study of external features of an animal is called animal morphology. Studying about the external features of a plant body is called as what? Plant morphology. In general, morphology deals with the study of external features, external structures. And anatomy, as I said, anatomy. Anatomy deals with the study of internal structure. See, by outward appearance we can tell this is a tall plant, this is a short plant. But what are the structures that are found inside the body? That is possible only when you cut open the plant body or an animal body, then you can study the internal parts. So the branch of biology, so morphology, anatomy, physiology, all these are the very important branches of biology. Important branches of biology are the important branches of biology. So morphology deals with the study of external features of a plant body. Anatomy deals with the study of internal structure of an organ. Internal structure. See, what are the plant organs? It might be a root, it might be a stem, it might be a leaf, right? All these are called plant parts. So, study of the internal structure of the plant parts is called anatomy, whereas physiology deals with the study of internal functions. Internal functions. So, morphology, study of external structure. Anatomy, study of internal structure. Physiology, study of internal functions. For example, all of us know in our body there are various physiological processes going on inside a plant body or an animal body. In plant body, for example, photosynthesis, respiration, all those you call it as what? That you call it as what? Physiological process. In animal body, digestion, excretion, circulation, all these are called as internal functions, or what we otherwise use the word called physiological processes. So what is morphology? Morphology is the study of external features of a plant body, right? And anatomy deals with the study of internal structure of a plant organ or a plant body. Physiology deals with the study of internal functions of a plant body or an animal body. So a flowering plant or an angiosperm plant consists of what? Root system and shoot system. Consists of what? Root system and shoot system. So this is called root system and this is called shoot system. One thing I think all of you know that root system is positively geotrophic and negatively phototrophic. This is positively geotrophic. I'll tell you what do you mean by and negatively phototropic, whereas shoot system is positively phototropic and negatively geotropic. So this is positively phototrophic and negatively geotrophic, whereas the root system is positively geotrophic and negatively phototrophic. What do you mean by positively geotrophic? I think all of you know root have more affinity towards the soil underground. So that is the reason you mean by positively geot. And they don't grow above the soil, they grow below the soil. So they are positively geotrophic and negatively phototrophic. Whereas plants, they don't grow, the shoot system does not grow underground except for some modifications, right? Except when they, besides their usual function, they undergo certain modifications to perform some special function. That time they grow underground. But usually the shoot system is above the soil and it has more affinity towards light, as you know, the leaves carry on the process of what? Photosynthesis, and which is a very important raw material for photosynthesis, that is sunlight. So hence we call it as positively phototrophic and negatively geotrophic. So root system is positively geotrophic and negatively phototrophic, whereas shoot system is positively phototrophic and negatively geotrophic. So when we study about the morphology of an angiosperm plant, it consists of two very important parts. One is called the root system, which is below the soil and which is positively geotrophic and negatively phototrophic, and the part which is above the soil is the shoot system, which is positively phototrophic and negatively geotrophic. Moving on to the root system. As I said, root system is a very important part of a angiosperm plant. What is the so very important, what is the significance of this root system? Here you can see the beautiful picture of a root system. So here you can see, this is that root tip. And this is called as the primary root, right? Before we study about the root system, I think all of us know that what is a seed? Seed is a developing embryo. What is so very important thing that is found in the seed? Seed has two very important parts. One is called radicle and the other one is called plumule. So as soon as we sow a seed, it germinates and it sprouts out. The part which grows below the soil will develop into root system, and the part of a seed which develops into shoot system is above the soil. So radicle develops into root system and plumule develops into shoot system. So radicle develops into root system and plumule develops into shoot system. So when we sow a seed, one part of the seed called radicle develops into root system and one part of the seed called plumule develops into shoot system. This is very important point. As soon as we sow a seed, it germinates. So one part of the seed develops into root system, that is below the soil, and one part of the seed called plumule develops into shoot system, which is above the soil. So two very important things that is found in a seed is what? Radicle and plumule. But days have gone there, like we have, with the improvement in the science and technology through tissue culture, you can take cell from any part of a plant body and grow a plant. So that is what is technology now, right? So but our old conception is what? We need to sow a seed to get a plant. So what is that which is found in the seed? That is radicle, which develops into root system, and plumule that develops into shoot system. What are the different types of root system? There are three different types of root system. One is called the taproot system. The other one is called the fibrous root system, and third one is called adventitious root system. What are the three types of root system? What is root system? It is the underground part of the plant which consists of primary root and its lateral branches. Right. So all of us know what is so very important significance of root system. Very, very important. It fixes firmly to the soil, anchorage. Not only fixing firmly to the soil, it conducts water and food and mineral salts, right? So that is the very important functions of a root system. Both the root system and the shoot system are very, very important parts of a plant body. So what are the three types of root system? We come across three types of root system. One is called the taproot system, and the fibrous root system, and the adventitious root system. The root system what you are seeing here, you can see the beautiful picture of this is called taproot system. This is the picture of a taproot system. This is the picture of a fibrous root system, and you might have come across banyan tree, you can see these are called as adventitious roots. Adventitious roots. What do you mean by taproot system? Always a taproot system develops from the radical of a seed. Radical of a seed. So taproot system always develops from the radical of a seed. As I said, radical present in the seed develops into root system, the part which is going to grow below the soil. And the seed has what? One more called plumule, which develops into shoot system. That is the next part of it. Now we are dealing with what? Only about the root system. So radical, the taproot system is developed from the radical of a seed. Fibrous root system is developed from the base of the stem. If at all a root system develops from the base of a stem, such type of root system is called what? Fibrous root system. Moving on to the third type called adventitious root system. The root system neither develops from the radical nor from the plumule nor from the base of the stem. If at all it develops from any other part of a plant body, such roots are called adventitious roots. For example, you might have seen banyan tree. Banyan tree. All of you might have seen a very huge banyan tree where because the stem is so very thick and it needs mechanical support, and that support is given by the vertical roots that develop from the branch, not from the usually we find roots growing below the soil, but here we find the roots coming developing from the branches, and that they act as what? Pillars, giving support. They act as what? Pillars. So they are also called as pillar roots. Just like how the four pillars of a house are very important, which bears the whole weight of the house. What for? The pillars are given for what? For mechanical support. So in a similar way, the roots which develop from the branches, they grow from upwards to downward. Usually roots grow downwards, but here we find the roots developing from upwards to downwards to give mechanical support. Such roots are called as what? Adventitious roots. So what are the three? Let me repeat once again. What are the all these are the basic things which we need to understand, not just to pass the PUC. These are all basic. In everyday life we come across all this, and being science students, if he does not know all these basic things, I think it will be ridiculous, right? So it is a basic, it's a duty to understand. Being science students, it is our bound duty to understand the basic concepts, like for example the root system, shoot system, what is a leaf, what is a fruit, all these other things. You know, it's so very simple for us to see a root system and a shoot system, but when we go in deeper study of a root system or a shoot system or a flower or a leaf, then you will understand how complicated it is. We just come across so very casually about all these parts, but when you go in detail study, definitely you will understand how much so very vast it is. The study is not so very simple about this morphology of flowering plants. So what are the three types of root system you come across? The three types of root system is taproot system, fibrous root system and adventitious root system. What is taproot system? Taproot system always develops from the radicle of a seed, and the radicle of a seed always the taproot system will have the main root called the primary root. Here you can see the branching is in taproot system, you don't find that much of branching like what you find in fibrous root system. So branching is very profuse in case of fibrous root system when compared to taproot system. So taproot system will have the branching is very less. It will give rise to primary root, primary into secondary root, secondary into tertiary roots. But here you can see the branching. The branching is very profuse or too much. So what is a taproot system? Taproot system always develops from the radicle of a seed. Fibrous root system always develops from the base of the stem. And adventitious root system neither develops from the radicle nor from the base of the stem. If at all it develops from any other part of a plant body, may it be branches, such roots are called as what? Adventitious roots. So the classical example which you can give for taproot system is all dicots. All dicot plants have taproot system. So it is known that it is for sure that all dicot plants will have what type of root system? Taproot system. Fibrous root system, all monocot plants. All monocot plants will have the what you call it as the fibrous root system. And adventitious root system, as you come across in banyan, grasses, monstera, pandanus, all that are the examples you can give for adventitious root system. So here you can see the radicle. As I said, this is a picture of a taproot system. This is a picture of a taproot system where it develops from where? It develops from the radicle of a seed. It develops from the radicle of a seed. Here you can see the primary, it develops into primary root, primary into secondary, secondary, this is called secondary roots. Secondary will give rise to some more smaller branches. They are called as tertiary roots. Here you can see the tip, the root tip has meristematic tissue which has the active rate of cell division, and here this part is called zone of elongation and this is called zone of maturation. This is called zone of meristematic activity and this is called the zone of elongation and this is called zone of maturation, where you come across the primary giving rise into what? Lateral roots, that is the secondary and the tertiary roots. As I said, what is the root system? It is the underground part of a plant, consists of primary root and its lateral branches. The root system not only fixes. So what is a very important function of a root system? Function of root system. First is what? Anchorage. First it has to fix firmly. What is anchorage? Fixation to the soil. You might have come across there's a heavy wind and a heavy rainfall. In spite of all that, the plants are able to hold firmly to the soil, and that is because of the root system. So very important job or a function of a root system is what? Fixation to the soil firmly. So in spite of any adverse climatic condition also it is able to withstand. Sometimes you might have come across when there is a heavy rainfall or a heavy wind, sometimes even the roots would have been uprooted, and that is because the soil will be very loose and maybe that is the reason there will be the roots will be uprooted. But the very important job of a plant is root system is to fix firmly to the soil, anchorage. Then what? Conduction, absorption. Next is very important. Absorption of water and mineral salts. Very important. First one is fixation to the soil, firmly to the soil. Then what? Absorption. How does it do the process of absorption? By the lateral roots, that is the secondary roots, the tertiary roots absorb water and give it to the primary root. From there, very important is what? Conduction. conduction of dissolved solutes, that is mineral salts, water and mineral salts. Conduction means what? Transportation. I think all of you might have come across xylem and phloem, right? Xylem and phloem, they are called as what? Vascular tissues. What do you mean by vascular tissue? They are called as conducting tissues. So xylem always conducts what? Water, and phloem conducts what? Food. So xylem is a water conducting tissue and phloem is a food conducting tissue. But the only difference is what? Xylem conducts or transports water from downwards to upwards, whereas phloem conducts food from upwards to downwards. Why not from downwards to upwards? Where exactly is the food manufactured? Food is manufactured in the leaves, and all of you know leaves are above the soil. So the phloem conducts food from upwards to downwards, whereas xylem because we are going to water the plants to the soil, from the soil. So what type of water is absorbed by the soil? The capillary water. There is space called capillary space, and the water that is found in the capillary space is absorbed by the plant body. That is called capillary water. So from there the water is passed on to xylem, and xylem supplies water to the different parts of the plant body. So what are the three very important functions of a root system? First one is what? Anchorage, fixation firmly to the soil. Next is what? Absorption. Then absorption of water and dissolved mineral salts. Then dissolved, actually it is in what form? Dissolved. Dissolved mineral salts. The next is what? Conduction of dissolved water and mineral salts from downwards to upwards. This is all about the root system. Moving across the root. In particular, see here you can see the beautiful picture. See how you can see the branching of roots. So this is called the primary root. So what is root? Root is the descending part of the plant which develops from the radical of the germinating embryo. What do you mean by descending? From downwards. So it is always below the soil. So whereas shoot system is ascending part of the plant body, that is which is above the soil, and root is always the descending part of a plant body that develops from where? As I said, it develops from the radical of the germinating embryo. And as I said, root generally grows downwards into the soil, hence it is positively geotrophic and negatively phototrophic. As I said, root is what? Positively geotrophic and negatively phototrophic, whereas it is vice versa in case of shoot. What is it? It is positively phototrophic and negatively geotrophic. So root generally grows downwards into the soil, hence it is positively geotrophic and negatively phototrophic. Roots are mostly devoid of chlorophyll. Hope you might have come across. It is almost brownish in color. Roots are usually, they have no role to play in the process of preparation of food, synthesis of food through photosynthesis. So obviously they do not have chlorophyll. Their only job is what? To fix firmly to the soil, absorb the water and dissolve mineral solutes and conduct it to the various parts of the plant body. So as I said, it conducts the various important substances from downwards to upwards. So roots are mostly devoid. Devoid means what? Without chlorophyll, and are usually what color? And usually you find them in brownish in color. They are usually brownish in color. So as I said, what is root? Root is the descending part of the plant which develops from the radical of the germinating embryo. As soon as we sow a seed, it sprouts, it germinates. Sprouting is called as what? Germination. Water is very important for seed germination. Right? Then one part of the seed, that is radicle, develops into root system, and one part of the seed called the plumule develops into shoot system. And usually root is what? Grows downwards into the soil. Hence it is what? Positively geotrophic and negatively phototrophic. And roots are mostly what? Devoid, without chlorophyll, as they have no role to play in the process of synthesis of food. So they don't have chlorophyll, and they are usually found in what color? They are usually brownish in color. Moving on to the functions of the root system. Here you can see the beautiful picture of a plant body. Here you can see this is a taproot. See, here you can see the soil particles. Here you can see the water molecules. And water molecules, as I said, it is absorbed by the root hairs. Root hairs. Water is taken in through the root hairs. And here you can see this is what? This is the shoot system. And what do you call this part as? This part is called as what? Roots. This is the descending part of the plant body, and that is the ascending part of the plant body. What, as I said, shoot is what? Positively phototrophic and negatively geotrophic, whereas root positively geotrophic and negatively phototrophic. When compared to the shoot system, the root system is very simple, and this is more complicated. Why it is complicated? It has so many parts. So the shoot system bears so many parts, and as I said, the very important function of a leaf is what? To carry on a process of what? Photosynthesis, using the raw materials like sunlight, carbon dioxide, water and chlorophyll. And what is the byproduct? Oxygen. Oxygen is released into the air. So that is the reason why we have to grow more plants. You grow more plants, we get more oxygen. And it is like give and take policy. We give out carbon dioxide and the plants take in carbon dioxide, and the plants give oxygen and we take in oxygen. So oxygen is a very, very important requirement for human beings, right? So the more you plant the plants, the more we get oxygen. So functions of root system. As I already said, explained, the main functions of the root system is what? First, anchorage. Anchorage or fixation. First is this one. Next comes what? Absorption of water and minerals from the soil. Then providing anchorage to the plants. Then storing the reserve food material. For example, as I said, some of the roots get modified. Like for example, carrot, beetroot. Right? So what are they? They are nothing but modifications of root system. Modified for what? Modified for food storage. So besides these functions, if at all they want to perform some special functions, they get themselves modified. What do you mean by modification? Slight change from the original appearance. Why do they undergo slight change from the original appearance? To perform some special functions. Special functions is what? Like to give mechanical support for food storage, etc. So that time they get themselves modified. But other than that, these are the original functions of a root system, that is absorption of water and minerals from the soil, providing proper anchorage to the plants, storing the reserve food materials, and synthesis of growth regulators. For example, you might have come across plant hormones like auxin, gibberellins, abscisic acid. So all these are they are called as growth regulators, growth promoters. So even the root system also helps in synthesis of certain growth hormones. So these are the very important functions of the root system. So what are the very important functions of a root system? The main function of root system is what? Absorption of water and minerals from the soil, providing proper anchorage to the plants, storing reserve food material, synthesis of growth regulators. And you can see the beautiful picture. This is what? This is the shoot system, and this is the root system. Moving across the regions of the root. Very, very important. You can see in this beautiful picture, you can see three important regions of the root system. One is region of meristematic activity. Second one is region of elongation, and third is called region of maturation. So what are the three very important regions of a plant body? The three very important regions of a plant body are the region of meristematic activity, region of elongation, and region of maturation. So the root is covered by the apex. Here you can see the root is covered by a thumb-like structure called root cap, which is also called as clapeyra. And here you can see this is a region of meristematic. What do you mean by region of having more of meristematic cells? And what is a very important job of this meristematic cells? To divide or undergo mitotic cell division. Here this is called region of elongation, and this is called, you can see more of root hairs. This part is called as region of maturation. So the root is covered at the apex. This is the tip, apex. This is the apex, and this apex is called as what? Root cap. Hence root tip is subterminal. It is subterminal. It protects the tender apex of the root. Why there is a root cap? Like how we wear a cap to protect our head. In a similar way, this root cap protects the root tip. Why root tip? What is found in the root tip? Meristematic cells. And what is the job of meristematic cells? To divide by the process of mitosis and increase in number of cells. And increase in number of cells lead to what? Growth. Growth can happen only with the help of meristematic cells, and that is found in the root tip and the shoot tip. So as a means of protection, there is a cap-like structure around the root tip, and that is called as root cap. And root cap, as I said, it is also called as clapeyra, which protects the root tip from damage. What will happen if the root tip is damaged? Then the meristematic cells will be destroyed and the growth will be stopped. So in order to avoid that, so you see how naturally it is protected by a cap-like structure to protect the meristematic cells. Then as I said, it protects the tender apex as it penetrates through the soil. The root apex has three regions. So the root apex, as I said, has three regions. Moving on to the region of meristematic. As I said, what are the three regions? Region of meristematic activity, region of elongation, then region of maturation. So what is region of meristematic activity? As I said, this is called the region of meristematic. This is the first region. This is the second region. And this is the third region. So here, as I said, this is the root cap. Very important is the root cap. And this tip has what? You can see here small cells. These are called what? Meristems or meristematic cells. And what are they have a property of what? Active rate of mitotic cell division. Active rate of mitotic cell division. So the cells of this region are very small, thin walled with a dense protoplasm, and they divide rapidly and repeatedly by mitosis to produce numerous daughter cells which help in what? Growth. So this is a very, very important region of the root system. If this is damaged, definitely the growth will be obstructed. So this is a very, very important region of the plant body because it is having what? Meristematic cells, and meristematic cells have the property to divide and redivide at a faster rate, giving rise to numerous cells, and numerous cells in turn will help in what? Growth. And that growth can be seen by this region, which is called region of elongation. Next, region of elongation. The cells of this region undergo rapid elongation. So as the cells grow, what will happen to the length? It goes on increasing. So here you can see as the cells multiply, you can see the region of elongation. So the cells of the region undergo rapid elongation and enlargement and are responsible for the growth of the root in length. So when we say growth in length, it might be vertical length or it might be horizontal length. That is what we call it as the girth or the thickness. The length growth might be vertically and horizontally. So this will help in the lengthwise growth also, right? Here you can see the region of elongation. Moving on to the third region, that is region of maturation. Here this is called, what do you find here? You can see profuse branching of what? Root hairs. And this is a region which is very, very important region for what? For absorption as well as for anchorage. For anchorage as well as for absorption, this part is very, very important. So as the cells get matured and get differentiated. What do you mean by differentiated? As I said, cells group into tissues, tissues into organs, organs into organ system. Here the cells get differentiated into tissues like xylem, phloem, right? As I said, xylem is a water conducting tissue, phloem is a food conducting tissue, parenchyma, that is a food storage tissue, sclerenchyma, which is a dead mechanical tissue. So region of maturation. So the elongated cells gradually differentiate and mature. From this region, some of the epidermal cells extend into, you can see here, these are unicellular extensions called what? Called root hairs. These are unicellular. The root hairs may be unicellular or multi, but here you can see they are unicellular, one is single. So, extend into unicellular root hairs helps in absorption of water and minerals from the soil. So, these are the three very important regions of a plant body. So, what are the three very important regions? Region of meristematic activity. One. Next is what? Region of elongation. That is the second part. And third is what? Region of maturation are the three very. So once again I repeat, region of meristematic activity, the cells of this region are very small, thin walled with a dense protoplasm. They divide rapidly and repeatedly by mitosis to produce numerous daughter cells. Then region of elongation, the cells of this region undergo rapid elongation and enlargement and are responsible for the growth of the root in length. The elongated cells gradually differentiate and mature. From this region, some of the epidermal cells extended into unicellular root hairs help in absorption of water and minerals from the soil. So this is all a very, very important. We might have even a small garden at a home. So you observe, you sow a seed and you enjoy seeing the sprouting of a plant and the growing of a plant. That is what is beauty of. This whole beauty of nature depends on what? Plants. The green plants are the one which is going to beautify our planet Earth. So it is a bound duty to protect the plants and conserve and protect the plants. Grow more number of plants, right? Hope you have understood the very important introductory part of this very important chapter called Morphology of Flowering Plants. As I said, each and every chapter in biology, first PUC biology, is quite interesting, and all this is basic knowledge. It is not just to pass out your PUC, right? All this is like we are part and parcel of this ecosystem. Plants are also part and parcel of this ecosystem. So can we live without plants? No, definitely not. So it is our bound duty to understand them and protect them and conserve them. I'll be back in the coming session with some more interesting concepts of this very interesting chapter called Morphology of Flowering Plants. Till then, goodbye and thank you.